Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Let's Play of my Path of Radiance hard mode draft. And as I restarted my run, this is not in line with the original videos I had posted with commentary. This is a brand new run, and as I had already commented up to chapter 10 on that run before restarting, just for the fact I knew I could do better, I didn't really feel the need to redo all those chapters because, one, they're shorter, and I didn't want to take all those videos down because a lot of the stuff I said still had meaning and could offer some sort of advice to anyone who watched them. It gives you an idea of what you can do to help speed up some of the chapters by a little bit, but I feel the videos from now on definitely offer a lot more in terms of strategy if you watch my movements. And most of the turn counts I had were improved over the run. I think I either tied or improved on every single chapter but one, and that was mostly luck and laziness on my part because I believe it was chapter 21 and I didn't have Ike equipped with a Lagoose Slayer sword, which didn't allow him to one-round Ina. So that, or he didn't have Ether, which didn't activate, or something, I don't remember, but the chapter is far too long to restart, in my opinion, over something like that with the already increased turn counts that I had. So I wasn't too worried, but you know, one turn or two won't bother me that much. If anything, I can send or upload the lower turn count for that chapter as well. But so basically in this chapter, I have the second unit of my quintessential lower turn count units. Basically, these are units that are have high mobility and are generally going to be my main force. Those three units, if you do exclude Ike, because everyone has him, he doesn't really do as much until he promotes, and at that point he gains 9 movement, and until he gets the Night Ring, he's not doing as much to help out as those two, or those 3 other units, and those are Oscar, Kieran, and eventually within chapter 18 I get Tanith, and those 3 are definitely my game changers. So from now on I'll just refer to them as, the big 3, what have you, because they really did make that much of a difference, and I got the second piece of that trio in Kieran, and due to the fact that I have a while to promote my other units, I don't need Reese or Ilyana technically promoted by chapter 15, really. Ilyana is necessary for me to 3-turn or 4-turn chapter 15, and I believe Reese is as well, which might sound strange, but you'll have to see when I upload the video. But Ilyana has quite a while. I've given her a bit of bonus experience at this point. I believe she's level 13 or even greater, but she has no real need for combat yet, and she doesn't need the experience because Oscar, and at this point after chapter 10, Kieran has received a lot of bonus experience. I believe he's level 19 or 20, even just with bonus experience. So I had that much laying around, and it was that necessary that I promoted him as fast as possible. And I think sending Oscar up this way by himself was a bit of a bad choice. I knew it was the fastest route to get to the boss, but in terms of efficiency, I probably should have sent Kieran up there as well, and I think Ilyana would have actually been a good choice, just due to the fact that she can, knock someone out of Oscar's range, and possibly I could have taken out 3 of those units in one turn if I had Kieran as well with the hand axe. But I couldn't remember if I had taken the extra turn in chapter 10 to get the Master Seal from the boss. I probably could have done that, but I'd rather knock off an extra turn. It wasn't that bad. I pretty much equaled it out because I believe I could have gotten this chapter in 4 turns, but it was a matter of I gave up a turn there and I gained 1 back here, so it all really evened out. Kieran gets his promotion. I didn't need to spend an extra turn to get the Master Seal, and everyone else is doing quite well. Oscar, especially after promotion, is an absolute monster and will continue to be so. He's literally unkillable pretty much for the entire course of the game after that point, just due to how incredibly powerful paladins are in this game. Mount rushing is easily the most favorable tactic to use if you're not doing an efficiency run, of course. And if you are, it's still the most efficient. But I would say, if you're unsure of what units to use in this game, if you're just playing, you know, for your first time or whatever, use every mounted unit you pretty much can. The main three, if you're going to use only three, I would suggest using Oscar, Kieran, and then Astrid, just due to the fact that she can catch up in experience so easily. And comes a chapter before Makalov does, which is quite nice. He's a bit higher level, but like I said, Paragon and the fact that you have complete control over pretty much every one of her levels, that's good. So she takes half the bonus experience and for pretty much double the payoff. And she has access to the Night Ward, who you can obviously give to somebody else, but she does make great use of that, as it does help her defense out a little bit early on. And it's just a matter of getting her strength up high enough to the point where she can use axes, which I believe in an efficiency run is the clear best choice. I mean, honestly, you should probably go that way anyway. Axes are pretty overpowered in this game, I will say. Hand axes, and especially in Radiant Dawn as well. Axe users in general are very favorable in this game, especially with a paladin like Oscar, who, for those troubling sword users later on, like, he will have some hit issues against sword masters and stuff, but it's really not that bad. I would say at most I've seen his hit rate reduced in the upper 60s, and as opposed to actually, you know, using a lance, I just still go with the axe. And, you know, if I miss, depending, it won't be that big of a deal. But also against Myrmidons and Swordmasters, his strength with a cap of 26 or 27 is generally high enough with a Forged Steel Axe to one-shot, not even just one round, one-shot any of those frail units, and that's why they're so valuable. Their caps, Paladins are ridiculously overpowered in this game, and I mean, I like it. They're some of my favorite units, even in, you know, the other titles, just for the sake of I don't know. I've always enjoyed them. Their high mobility is what, you know, is their main winning factor for me. But as you can see, look at Kieran's stats. I mean, not many other units in the game have access to such similar stats. I actually just gave Kieran bows because in my first run, I mean, axes are his most commonly used type. He's really not going to use anything else. On my first run, I gave him swords, and he used them once, and it was just for the sake of fun. Really, I was killing a sage with it, so, you know, it's not really going to matter what kills him. But yeah, for the others, I mean, for Kieran, he's a clear choice. He already has axes. But I wouldn't give him anything else besides maybe bows or lances. If you really want to give him lances, he'll be a complete clone of Oscar, depending on their growths. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's, you know, it only serves to benefit you. But I just gave him bows. I figured it might be useful on something like chapter 13 or 12 rather, which is right after this, an iron bow and his high speed. I think I gave him another bonus experience level just to get that magical 20 speed, which I think lets you double every Raven on that chapter besides the boss, and I think you need 21 speed to do that. I can't remember what his speed is with his demiband losses, but and you can see Ike. Speaking of Ike, he is very crucial later on. So I will say, many of the early game chapters, depending on how well you do, are dependent on Ike's stats. There are certain benchmarks you should get to. There are certain stats you should aim for to have him doubling certain enemies in the beginning, you know, getting up damage on certain enemies. Ike is incredibly important in these runs. You need to have him pretty much maxed out for the Ashnard fight. especially if you're using Aether. He needs max skill and max strength, which isn't that hard for Ike to do, really, unless you get really screwed. But Ike's got really good growths, for my experience, which means nothing. He's very RNG proof, and either way, with his promotion bonuses and the fact he gets 38 levels basically, he is a very good unit. And I mean, that's obvious, but I believe that you do need to focus on Ike's stats. I mean, something like this, view the enemy's stats, even if it takes you, if you just do a quick test run of the chapter and don't save and go back and do it. I mean, it only serves to benefit you in the preparation aspect, because you'll know what to look for. I mean, it might take a few resets, but getting Ike's stats to, and even your other units, to certain points to allow them to do what you need them to do is very important. Much like I said earlier, doubling the Ravens in Chapter 12 will help your turn count out. It might only be 1 or 2 turns, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not that bad. I mean, I'd rather take 1 or 2 turns over not getting 1 or 2 turns. I think that, I mean, this is really the reason I could have 4-turned the chapter. Or actually, never mind. It was just unfortunate, because I think the boss at this point now is going to heal, and that allows Kieran to not get the level he wanted. I wanted to get him closer to just getting bonus experience, another level up, and it would have worked out had I done that. So I believe I just give Oscar the kill. I think they're both level 1 actually, so it really works out. As you'll see, if he does level, their stats are very similar. They look exactly. They look pretty much the same, and thankfully I did get a good level on that. Getting a bad level late on in the chapter is frustrating as hell. Really is, because you have to wonder if it's worth it or not to go back to do that. Sometimes it's not, and then sometimes it very well might be. If a unit like Volk or Ilyana or Reese gets a blank level later on, you might need to restart. If it wasn't boiling down to criticals and whatnot, you would easily be able to do that again, because it really will benefit you. I'm not saying, if you don't get a +6 as opposed to a +5 to reset at that stretch, but there's just certain things that you should. It's just a matter of utilizing what resources you have efficiently. That's the whole point of an efficiency run. It's not exactly about turn count, because I believe the more efficiently you manage those resources themselves, the easier the turn counts will be to achieve. Like, essentially saying that you should go about utilizing, like, say, if you have a spare energy drop or a spare item, don't just waste it on a unit who might need it. If you don't need it for a particular chapter, save it. Saving it for a crucial moment will help you out later on, in the fact that it might help you one round an enemy later on that you need to get out of the way. And as you see here, I'm just messing around with the Black Knight. But I'll probably touch on it more, but yes, definitely utilizing every resource. Bonus experience, items, skills. Don't waste your skills either. If someone's not going to put it to very good use, don't use it, or sell it. But that's the end of the chapter, and I will see you guys for chapter 12.